Hello and welcome back to the Expensive Coins History channel, where we explore fascinating coins and the hidden treasures they hold. In today's video, we will take an in-depth look at the 1967 Australian 20-cents coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, yet carries a rich history and holds a special place in Australia's numismatic journey. We will explore its background, rarity, collector interest, and most importantly, its current market value and worth in 2025. The story of this coin begins during one of the most significant changes in Australian monetary history, the introduction of decimal currency in 1966. The 20-cent coin replaced the pre-decimal florin, becoming a key part of the new system. The 1967 issue continued that new decimal tradition, bearing the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side, designed by Arnold Machin. The reverse features an iconic Australian creature, the platypus, beautifully designed by Stuart Devlin, who was the goldsmith and jeweler responsible for many of Australia's coin designs. The coin is made from a copper-nickel alloy, weighing approximately 11.3 grams with a diameter of 28.65 millimeters. It has a reeded or milled edge and was produced as a general circulation coin without a mint mark. This detail often leads to confusion, as some collectors or sellers refer to it as a no mint mark coin, implying rarity. However, it's important to clarify that the absence of a mint mark on the 1967 20-cent coin is completely standard. That is how all circulation coins of that period were struck, making the term no mint mark somewhat misleading. In terms of production, around 83.8 million of these coins were minted for circulation in 1967. That is a very large number, meaning the coin itself is not considered rare in ordinary condition. Millions of examples circulated widely across Australia, and many remain in collections or mixed change to this day. However, what sets certain coins apart is their condition. While the majority of surviving examples are heavily worn, a small number of coins have survived in high-grade, uncirculated, or mint-state condition, and those are the ones that attract more serious collector interest and higher prices. When discussing value, the most significant factor is condition. A heavily circulated 1967 20-cent coin will generally be worth between its face value and a few Australian dollars. Coins showing moderate circulation wear might bring around $5 to $10 from collectors who want to fill a date gap in their decimal set. In contrast, coins in extremely fine or almost uncirculated condition can be worth $10 to $20. Truly pristine mint-state examples graded at MS63 or higher can range anywhere from $15 to $30 or even more if the coin has exceptional eye appeal or brilliant luster. Coins with proof-like surfaces or special presentation finishes from collector sets can occasionally achieve higher premiums. Occasionally, listings appear online claiming that a 1967 Australian 20-cent coin without a mint mark is worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. While those headlines grab attention, such claims are often exaggerated. The standard 1967 issue without a mint mark is not rare, that is how it was originally minted. The only time a coin from that year might command a significantly higher value is if it possesses an unusual mint error, such as an off-center strike, double strike, or planchet flaw. In those rare cases, collectors might pay much more, but that is due to the error, not the date or lack of mint mark itself. For collectors who own one, there are a few practical steps to determine whether your coin holds additional value. Examine it closely under good lighting. Look at the queen's hair and the platypus details on the reverse. If these high points are sharp with minimal wear, your coin is in better condition. Check for luster, as uncirculated coins still have a distinct shine from the original minting process. If your coin looks nearly perfect, you might consider having it professionally graded by a reputable grading service. A certified high-grade example can command a much stronger price than an ungraded one, especially in the international market. As of 2025, the market for Australian decimal coins remains steady, with a growing interest among both local and overseas collectors in early-issue decimal coinage, especially those tied to Queen Elizabeth II's early portrait years. The 1967 20-cent coin continues to hold sentimental and historical value as one of the earliest post-decimal coins, representing the transition from pounds and shillings to the modern Australian dollar system. While it is not a coin that will make you rich overnight, it remains a classic collectible and a small piece of Australian history that connects everyday life with the nation's royal and economic heritage. The 1967 Queen Elizabeth II Australian 20-cent coin is a common yet historically meaningful piece of Australian numismatic history. Its mintage of nearly 84 million makes it widely available, but finding one in pristine mint condition is far less common. Most circulated coins are worth only a few dollars, but exceptional specimens and certified uncirculated examples can reach values of up to $30 or more depending on demand. It may not be a rare treasure, but it remains a valuable reminder of Australia's shift to decimal currency and the craftsmanship that defined an entire era of coin design. The 1981 Australian 20 cents coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II. This particular coin, although common in circulation, has certain varieties and errors that can make it extremely valuable. We'll look at its background, how to identify the rare versions, why it is so interesting to collectors, and what it's truly worth in the current market of 2025. The Australian decimal currency system was introduced in 1966, replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence. Among the new coins was the 20-cent piece, made from a copper-nickel alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighs about 11.3 grams and has a diameter of roughly 28.65 millimeters. The obverse of the coin carries the second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machin, while the reverse displays the famous platypus design created by Stuart Devlin. This design has remained iconic and instantly recognizable to Australians for decades. By 1981, the Royal Australian Mint was facing high production demands and capacity limitations, which led to the outsourcing of some 20-cent coin production to other mints. That year, coins were struck not only in Canberra but also at the Royal Mint in Wales and the Royal Canadian Mint in Winnipeg. Because of this, multiple varieties of the 1981 20-cent coin exist, and that's what makes the year particularly interesting for collectors. Most Australian coins do not show an obvious mint mark, so identifying where they were struck requires close observation of small design differences. The regular Canberra minted coins usually show 4 full claws on the platypus's left paw just beneath the 2 in the 20. The Canadian struck coins, however, show a distinctive 3.5 claw design, where one claw is noticeably shorter or weaker. This subtle difference is the primary clue used by collectors to identify the so-called 3.5 claw variety. The coins struck in Wales are visually very similar to the Australian strikes but can sometimes differ slightly in finish or lettering detail. In addition to these standard varieties, a few rare minting errors occurred in 1981. The most famous of these is the wrong planchet error, where some 20-cent coins were accidentally struck on blanks intended for Hong Kong $2 coins. These blanks are scalloped, meaning they have a wavy edge rather than being perfectly round. Such coins are extraordinarily rare, with only a handful known to exist, and they can sell for thousands of dollars when authenticated. When you examine a 1981 20-cent coin, look carefully at the platypus claws and the lettering on the obverse. If the left paw under the 2 shows all 4 full claws, you probably have the standard Canberra or London struck coin. If the 4th claw is only half-formed, you might be holding the Canadian 3.5 claw variety, which is scarcer and more desirable to collectors. Also check the edge and weight, since error coins struck on different planchets can have slightly different dimensions or tones. Now let's discuss value. In circulated condition, the regular 1981 20-cent coins are still relatively common and generally worth only their face value or a small premium, often just a few dollars for a nice example. Uncirculated coins in mint condition may bring slightly more, sometimes up to 20 or 30 Australian dollars if they are flawless. However, once you move into the scarcer varieties, prices rise quickly. The 3.5 claw variety in excellent mint state condition can be valued in the hundreds of dollars, and professionally graded examples can fetch well over 200 Australian dollars or more. The most dramatic values apply to the true minting errors, such as the coin struck on the Hong Kong $2 planchet. Because these pieces are known in only single-digit numbers, they are considered extreme rarities. Verified examples have been reported selling for many thousands of dollars, sometimes over 10,000 Australian dollars depending on condition and buyer interest. These price differences highlight an important truth in numismatics: condition and variety determine almost everything. Millions of 1981 coins were made, so ordinary circulated examples are not rare. But any coin that shows a unique error or is preserved in pristine mint state condition can have a dramatically higher value. When judging your coin, always handle it carefully. Hold it by the edges to avoid fingerprints or scratches, and keep it in a protective holder or capsule. Never clean a coin, because cleaning can permanently damage the surface and drastically reduce its value. If you believe you have a rare variety or error, have it examined by a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can add significant credibility and value when selling. The market in 2025 for Australian coins remains strong, supported by both domestic collectors and international interest in Commonwealth coinage. While ordinary examples of the 1981 20-cent coin will remain affordable, genuine high-grade or rare variety pieces are holding their value and, in some cases, appreciating. As with all collectibles, condition, scarcity, and demand are the three main forces that shape price. The 1981 Queen Elizabeth II 20-cent coin is a fascinating part of Australia's modern coinage history. Most are common pocket change, but certain varieties, especially the Canadian 3.5 claw and the famous Rongplanchet errors, have become prized finds among collectors. If you discover one of these rare types in your collection or loose change, it could be worth a lot more than 20 cents. The 2000 Queen Elizabeth II Australian 20-cent coin, a coin that many collectors and everyday people alike come across and often wonder if it could be worth a fortune. We will explore its background, its details, how rare it truly is, and what its real market value looks like in 2025. The Australian 20-cent coin was first introduced in 1966 when Australia changed from the pre-decimal system to the decimal currency we use today. It replaced the old florin in both size and function and has since become one of the country's most recognizable coins. The reverse design of the platypus, created by the renowned artist Stuart Devlin, has remained the same for decades and continues to symbolize the uniqueness of Australia's wildlife. The obverse, or front side, of the coin features Queen Elizabeth II, and in the year 2000 the portrait used was the fourth official effigy designed by Ian Rank Broadley, which is known for its realistic depiction of the Queen. The 2000 20-cent coin was struck in copper nickel with a weight of about 11.3 grams, a diameter of roughly 28.6 millimeters, and a thickness a little over 2.5 millimeters. The coin was produced without a mint mark, which means there is no small letter identifying where it was struck. For that year, over 35 million examples were made for circulation, so it was by no means a low mintage issue. Because of this, the regular 2000 no-mint mark coin is classed as a common circulation coin rather than a rare variety. Now, let's talk about rarity and why some coins from around the same period can be worth big money while this one typically is not. The 2000 20-cent coin is not part of any special set and has no known variant where a mint mark is missing or misplaced. Every regular coin from that year was issued with no mint mark by default, so that feature does not make it special or rare. The only exceptions that might give such a coin extra value are cases of minting errors such as off-center strikes, double strikes, or being struck on the wrong type of blank. These errors are not the norm and can be valuable if verified by an expert, but they are extremely uncommon. Condition plays a big role in the value of any coin. A coin that has circulated heavily and shows clear signs of wear will usually only be worth its face value, while a coin that has never been used in circulation and still has its original shine can attract a small premium from collectors. Even then, because of the large mintage numbers, the premium remains low. A flawless uncirculated coin might sell for a few times its face value, but not for hundreds or thousands of dollars. There was also a special silver collector version of a 2000 20-cent coin released in a commemorative set called Masterpieces in Silver, 20th Century Monarchs. That version was made of fine silver and had a very limited mintage. It is a completely different coin and can sell for significantly more due to its precious metal content and scarcity, but it should not be confused with the standard copper-nickel coin that circulated in everyday USE.AS for the current market value in 2025. Ordinary circulated examples of the 2020-cent coin still trade for around their face value. In uncirculated condition, collectors might pay anywhere between 50 cents and $2 depending on how well preserved the coin is. The silver-proof or special edition versions can be worth considerably more, but the regular coin found in change is common and easy to obtain. Sometimes people list these coins online claiming they are rare or worth thousands, but it is important to look at actual sold prices rather than asking prices. Most of these coins sell for less than $1 unless they have an error or are in exceptional condition. The market for Australian decimal coins is fairly stable, and high prices are generally reserved for genuinely rare pieces such as the 1966 wavy baseline 20-cent coin or the 2001 mule error, not for the standard 2020-cent issue. If you have one of these coins, take a close look at it. If it appears normal with no unusual features and has seen regular use, then it's a nice piece of Australian currency but not a fortune. If it looks unusual, off-center, or different in color or thickness, it may be worth getting checked by a professional coin grader or a trusted dealer, just in case it happens to be an error piece. The 2000 Australian 20-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II without a mint mark is a common circulation coin. It holds a little collectible value if in pristine uncirculated condition, but generally it is worth around its face value in 2025. The lack of a mint mark is completely normal for this coin, and only rare errors or special silver issues carry significant value. We are diving deep into one of the fascinating pieces of Australian decimal coinage, the 1974 no mint mark 10 cents coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II. This coin, though often considered common, has an interesting story behind its production, design, and place in Australian numismatic history. We will look at its background, how it was made, its rarity, and what it is really worth in the market as of 2025. When Australia introduced decimal currency in 1966, the 10 cents coin replaced the old shilling and became one of the core denominations in circulation. The 1974 issue followed the same standard specifications used since the beginning of decimal coinage. It is made of copper-nickel, with a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing approximately 5.65 grams and measuring 23.6 millimeters in diameter. On the obverse side of the coin appears the second official portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Arnold Machin, showing the Queen facing right wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The reverse features the distinctive lyrebird design created by Stuart Devlin, a design that has remained on the 10 cents coin ever since. The 1974 10 cents coin was struck by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. Unlike some other mints around the world, the Royal Australian Mint did not normally place a mint mark on circulation coins, which is why this piece is often described as no mint mark. However, the absence of a mint mark does not mean the coin is rare. For that year, around 46.5 million pieces were produced for circulation, making it a plentiful issue. As a result, the standard 1974 no mint mark 10 cents coin is considered common among collectors. Even so, certain examples of this coin can attract collector interest and slightly higher value. Condition is one of the biggest factors influencing worth. Because millions of these coins circulated for decades, most are worn or dull from use. Coins that have survived in pristine uncirculated condition, especially those certified by professional grading services, can command significantly higher prices. A high-grade uncirculated coin graded mint state 66, for instance, has been known to sell for around $50, while an ordinary circulated piece typically trades close to its face value. Another element that can raise value is the presence of minting errors. Some 1974 10 cents coins are known with planchet defects such as triple clipped edges or off-center strikes. These error coins are genuine mint anomalies and can be quite collectible, often selling for many times more than a standard strike, depending on how dramatic and visually appealing the error appears. It is important to clarify that the phrase, no mint mark, on this particular coin does not indicate a special variety or rarity. Many online listings and videos claim that the 1974 no mint mark 10 cents coin is worth thousands, or super rare, but these claims are misleading. Since all normal 1974 10-cent coins were produced without a mint mark, their lack of one is completely normal. Unless your coin shows a verified error or is in exceptional mint state condition, it is unlikely to carry high value. In the current 2025 market, circulated examples generally sell for between 10 cents and a few dollars at most, depending on appeal and condition. Coins in uncirculated or brilliant condition can bring anywhere from 20 to 50 Australian dollars if graded by a reputable service. Rare error examples may be worth much more, but these are not typical and should be authenticated before any assumptions about value are made. When evaluating one of these coins, start by inspecting its overall appearance. Check for signs of heavy wear, scratches, or cleaning. If the coin looks unusually sharp or has clear details with no dullness, it may be worth having it assessed by a coin dealer or grading company. Never clean a coin, as that almost always lowers its collectible value. Store it properly in a coin holder or flip to protect it from further wear. Collectors should also be wary of exaggerated claims made in online marketplaces or social media posts. Some sellers use phrases like, "no mint mark, rare error," to attract attention, but in most cases they are describing an ordinary circulation coin. Always research current sales and auction prices before buying or selling. Genuine rarity comes from low mintage numbers, unique varieties, or confirmed minting errors, not simply from the year or lack of a mint mark. Despite being common, the 1974 Australian 10-cent coin remains a meaningful piece of the nation's decimal currency history. It represents the period when the country had fully transitioned to the decimal system and features the classic lyrebird design that has become an enduring symbol of Australian coinage. While most examples will not make you rich, well-preserved or unusual pieces can still provide enjoyment and educational value for collectors. The 1974 no-mint mark Queen Elizabeth II Australian 10-cent coin is widely available and typically worth only its face value in circulated condition. However, coins in outstanding uncirculated grade or with verified minting errors can reach values from several dollars to $50 or more. Its true worth lies in its historical significance and its role as part of the Australian decimal coinage series rather than in high monetary value. Whether you find one in change or inherit a few from a relative, it remains a small but interesting reminder of Australia's numismatic heritage and a worthy addition to any coin collection. The 1981 no-mint mark Queen Elizabeth II 10-cent coin. At first glance, it might seem like an ordinary piece of pocket change, but there's more to its story than meets the eye. We'll go through its history, background, rarity, collector interest, and of course its current market value and what it might be worth in 2025. The Australian 10-cent coin was introduced in 1966 when the country officially changed to decimal currency. The coin features the elegant lyrebird on the reverse, designed by the talented artist Stuart Devlin, while the obverse bears the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right. By 1981, the Queen's portrait was still based on the work of Arnold Machin, known as the second portrait. The coin is made of copper nickel with a diameter of 23.60 mm and weighs around 5.65 grams. During 1981, Australia had its coins produced not only by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra but also by the Royal Mint in London due to production needs. Altogether, over 100 million 10-cent coins were struck for circulation that year. Because of this high mintage, the 1981 10-cent coin is generally considered a common issue. The phrase, "no mint mark," can cause confusion for collectors, especially those used to coins from the United States where mint marks are standard identifiers of origin. For Australian decimal coins, the majority of regular circulation coins did not carry a mint mark on the design, so the absence of one does not necessarily indicate a rare or special variety. In this case, the 1981 10-cent coin without a mint mark was the standard version. Although the 1981 no mint mark 10-cent coin is not a rarity by itself, condition plays an enormous role in determining its value. Coins that have been in circulation for decades will usually show significant wear, scratches, and dull surfaces, which means they often hold only face value or slightly above it. However, coins that have remained in uncirculated condition, especially those stored in mint sets or original rolls, can attract collector interest and higher prices. In today's market, as of 2025, circulated examples of this coin generally trade for 10 cents to about $1 depending on appeal. Uncirculated coins are typically valued between $3 and $10, with some exceptional mint state pieces occasionally fetching up to $20 if part of a mint roll or with flawless surfaces. Coins still sealed in original mint packaging can sometimes reach slightly higher values among dedicated collectors who seek pristine examples for their sets. It is worth noting that although this coin is not particularly valuable in its standard form, special varieties or minting errors could change that. A double strike, off-center strike, or a coin struck on the wrong planchet can increase interest significantly. Such pieces are rare and must be verified by an expert or certified by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to confirm authenticity and condition. A top-graded mint state example with perfect luster and no visible marks can also command a premium among collectors specializing in Australian decimal coinage. Many coin enthusiasts encounter claims online about old coins being worth thousands of dollars, and while that can be true for certain extremely rare coins or era pieces, it doesn't usually apply to regular high-mintage coins like the 1981 10-cent. Its true worth lies in its place within the story of Australian currency and in its role as an accessible entry point for new collectors. If you happen to find one in your collection, it's always a good idea to inspect it under good lighting, check for any possible errors or unusual features, and assess its condition carefully. Avoid cleaning the coin, as cleaning can actually reduce its numismatic value. Handle it only by the edges and store it in a protective holder or coin capsule to preserve its condition. For those looking to sell, online platforms like eBay or local coin shops are the most common places to find buyers. Be sure to provide clear photos, describe the coin's condition honestly, and price it realistically based on recent sales. For those looking to keep it, it's a great piece to complete a year set of Australian 10-cent coins from 1966 to the present. The 1981 no-mint mark Queen Elizabeth II Australian 10-cent coin is a common circulation issue that holds modest value in most conditions but continues to be a collectible piece of Australian history. While you shouldn't expect it to make you rich, finding one in pristine uncirculated state or with a verified minting error could make it worth a little more. In 2025, most examples sell for between a few cents and a few dollars depending on condition, with exceptional pieces fetching slightly higher prices. The 1993 Queen Elizabeth II Australian 10-cent coin. Many collectors have wondered about its value, its history, and especially about the idea of a no-mint mark version said to be worth a lot of money. In this video, we will go through everything you need to know, from the background of this coin to its rarity and current market value in 2025. The Australian 10-cent coin was first introduced in 1966 when the country moved from the old pounds and pence system to decimal currency. The reverse of the coin features the elegant lyrebird, designed by Stuart Devlin, a design that has remained a hallmark of the denomination for decades. On the obverse side, the 1993 issue carries the third portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which was used during that era, showing her facing to the right and wearing the royal crown. In 1993, the 10-cent coin was struck by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. It is made of copper and nickel, weighs about 5.65 grams, and measures roughly 23.6 millimeters in diameter, with a reeded edge. The official mintage figure for that year stands at around 23 million coins, meaning it was produced in large quantities for general circulation. With such a high mintage, the 1993 issue is generally considered a common circulation coin, not a low mintage rarity. However, over the years there have been discussions about a 1993 no-mint mark variety supposedly being rare and valuable. In reality, this claim causes a lot of confusion among new collectors. Most modern Australian circulation coins do not carry visible mint marks, especially those struck in Canberra, where no letter is added. Therefore, the absence of a mint mark on the 1993 10-cent coin does not make it unique or scarce. It is part of the regular issue. Some collectors also talk about error coins from this year, such as off-center strikes, double strikes, or coins struck on the wrong metal blanks. These are a different story altogether. Authentic mint errors, if certified and confirmed, can indeed bring high prices. sometimes in the hundreds or even thousands of dollars, but those are special exceptions and not the standard 1993 issue found in change. When it comes to market value in 2025, the ordinary 1993 Australian 10-cent coin in circulated condition is worth about its face value, 10 cents, or slightly more to a collector who needs the date. In average circulated grade, you might expect it to sell for around 50 cents to $1 depending on condition and interest. Uncirculated examples, especially coins kept straight from mint sets or rolls, may bring between 2 and 5 Australian dollars, with very high-grade certified coins possibly fetching a little more from specialist buyers. Because the mintage was over 20 million pieces, these coins remain abundant in collections and in everyday change. The only versions that attract significant attention are the ones with verified minting errors or those preserved in exceptional mint state condition. For collectors, the best approach is to examine your coin carefully. Look for unusual features such as misalignment, missing elements, or wrong planchet errors. If you believe your coin is unique, consider having it authenticated by a reputable grading service. Even if it turns out to be a regular issue, it's still a nice piece of Australian history and a reminder of the enduring portrait of Queen Elizabeth II that graced Australian coinage for decades. So, to sum it all up, the 1993 Queen Elizabeth Australian 10-cent coin is a common circulation piece with a high mintage, and the so-called no-mint mark version is not an officially recognized rarity. Its typical value in 2025 remains modest unless it's an error or an exceptional grade. Still, it's a beautiful coin that represents an important part of Australia's decimal coinage history. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep look into the 1993 Australian 10-cent coin, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell for more in-depth coin and currency videos. Share your own finds or questions in the comments below, and as always, happy collecting and keep searching your change, because you never know what treasures you might find next.